Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ron.
And today we are here sitting on a high after we have just recorded our interview with Chris Brancato, the creator and writer for Godfather in Harlem. So if you haven't already, please go and check out that interview. It is up now. Go over there and make sure that you watch the whole thing because it's full of gems.
And do us a solid. Go watch it. I'm telling you, you will not be, you may not like Godfather, but I'm telling you, if you watch that little piece we did, that interview, trust me, you're going to get some gems out of that.
I don't know how you cannot like that show, but
I know.
On TV.
Yeah, that's besides the point though. But today we are here to talk about Raising Kanan. This is season 1, episode 8. So you guys hang tight. We'll be right back with you to get started on that conversation.
Baby, I know where the last one burned you. Know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. You can't trust that.
All right, we are back, ready to talk Raising Kanan. This episode was titled The Cost of Business. And by the looks of it, did Lulu pay the price?
It looks like there's some hefty costs going on in this show.
It looks like he did, but I still don't think he's dead yet. I don't
think
know.
so either.
I don't think so.
I don't want him to be dead, that's for sure. But it did look a little suspect. I mean, my first thought was, do you have a back door, brother? I mean, just shooting in the air, you're not going to be hitting anything. You should have been hitting that back door. I should hope you have one. And if you don't, and if you're not dead, please move and go to a house that has a back door.
Listen, that's my first thought is, why is it so easy for them to pull up to any of their homes?
Yeah.
It's like with the neighbors, I said, where are the lieutenants? Where are the soldiers that's posted out front? Like, it was too easy for them to drop Scrappy's body on
Rock's
lawn, and then now they were able to pull up on Lulu without incident. Like, and in Just City, you couldn't just roll up on Nino.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I was like, what's up with that?
After last week, all that trash Lulu talked to both Unique and the other dude that he already tried to kill. I'm like, you should have been on the swivel. You should have known they was gonna come back at you like that.
And then he took the jacket. Then he went and took the jacket out of the car. I mean, that's a taunt.
Yeah, because we were talking about that offline. Like, what was the significance of taking the jacket? Is he going to try to plant it, on the scene of one of those drug overdoses? Or is he going to put the little blue vials in there to make it look like, Unique was the one pushing those bad drugs?
And
didn't we say that though last week? Didn't we say that Unique was going to be mad?
He was mad.
And about that, because it's going to look like it was on him.
Yep.
We said that.
It would have made more sense to me had he planted something in the car, like the valves, the blue valve, or something to that effect. It just didn't make a lot of sense to grab the coat, because now you get the concierge in trouble because he can only gotten in the car with the key, and so you're really just kind of haphazardly moving along. And
well, I think that's what Tiffany was saying about taunting him. Like, I can get to you.
That's what I think the message was.
Yeah, but like, I'm saying putting the concierge in trouble.
He did put him at risk.
Yeah, big time.
I don't think he cared, but
he did.
Because he showed the concierge his gun too. Like, not only did he give him money, but he let him know that he was strapped.
Yeah.
So that the concierge didn't have much choice.
Right.
Money or no money.
Exactly.
But that's the crazy part. Lulu walking around like he's untouchable, but you can reach him. Whereas Unique is always guarded. He always has a crew around him, and you just can't run up on him. So it's interesting to me the way that they're walking around and moving around as if they're untouchable, but they don't seem to have the crew or the security or I don't know. It's weird, kind of.
That was my thought. I'm like, and y'all are touchable, clearly.
Yes.
And this brings us to the next episode where there's supposedly a revolution. I don't know. I don't know how she's going to pull it off. I mean, she's excommunicated Marvin. Lou might be dead. If he's not dead, she's for sure in the hospital.
Around Marvin, because they showed Marvin getting busy next week. He was busting off in the clip for the preview.
So, okay, so you bring Marvin back, but you can't do it alone. I mean, so, you know, where's your G boys? I just don't, you know, it's interesting how they focus just on the main characters, but, you know, we would like to see a little depth with them. You know, if you're gonna be running this kind of game, you need some depth, and we don't see it with them.
That's what I said. Is Joaquin gonna give her some soldiers? I mean, like this new connect, like, will she get soldiers with them? Because that was funny too. She talking about we about to be on top. And when she said, "Oh, I'm losing corners and this, that, and the other," he was like, "That don't sound like somebody." And that's what I was saying. I'm like, "Okay, this ain't a good pitch, Rock."
I was about to say, if this was a job interview, you're supposed to put your best foot forward. She explaining all her losses.
Well, she put her only foot forward. I mean, could she?
Yeah, he was like, "Well, that don't sound like no winning plan to me."
Exactly. And the fact that he had been following her,
That's
you know, yeah, I mean, that adds to the fact that, you know, you're not as insulated as you think you are.
Well, it brings us back to our last show, because remember, we did say, and I know I said last week, that she's going to have to buy into Detective Howard's plan. And now it just solidifies that whole idea, because she needs Detective Howard now, even more so. She needs him because she's going to have to somehow convince her new distro that she has Detective Howard in her back pocket. So there's going
to kill Howard.
Well,
and what I say about DEF CON, I told you that's why she wanted to use his name, because, you know, it was giving her protection in the streets, her and Kanan.
Well,
and
how about the revelation that he was actually homosexual and she was kind of his front?
Yeah,
so I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was an eye opener.
That was a curveball.
That was a curveball.
But they did address the age discrepancy, you know, when she was 16 and lied and said she was older.
17.
But, you know, it was, so I know a lot of people were kind of like looking at Howard sideways, like, why was you messing with this little girl? But I mean, clearly she lied and said she was older.
But he was still grown.
Yeah, so he was very grown.
She was still underage, so how are you still creep?
And also the Crown Camacho is a creep too, because Lulu pointed out that he was chasing the high school girls too.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So he's a creep and a crackhead.
And a deadbeat.
And a what?
Deadbeat.
I'm talking about Crown now.
Yeah, he owes everybody. That's Lulu to get in.
And well, pushover too, now that Lulu has strong-armed him into that deal.
And you know, that was a sweet move, and I'm glad to see that, you know, because here you are paying all the bills, and so he says, "I'm gonna bring my lawyer," and really, you don't have much of a choice. It's either sign or, you know, catch a bullet.
And this is why I don't think Lulu is dead, because why include that into the episode if he's just gonna die at the end?
True.
And I thought that too, because next season, I think they're supposed to bring on Omar Dorsey, who plays Hollywood on Queen Sugar, and he's supposed to play like the music business exec and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, if Lulu is gone, who's gonna run the business? Is it just gonna be Crown? Like, I just feel like, I don't feel like Lulu's dead.
Yeah, he's not. He didn't have no bullet wounds, no burn damage or anything. His clothes weren't singed. So I'm thinking maybe it was just
smoke inhalation. Yeah.
Well, I also hope he's done with this chick. This is a little girlfriend.
Jessica.
Right? Please, not, you know, take her out. Let her go. Open the door. Leave. Look, I hope it's snowing. He kicks her out and she ain't got no clothes on. That's what I'm gonna get rid of. Get rid of this woman.
Well, I was mad at her for trying to put her brother on. I mean, she's trying.
But you know,
I had the same thought, T.
But she's not respecting.
It was the time.
But she's
not.
The timing is right.
Yeah, okay, maybe. But you know, you're trying to chump my boy, and you're doing it in an indirect way. You know, you're giving him orders. He's not the kind of guy to be giving him orders. And, you know, and just like he said to her, it's always, you want more. It's never enough. And I think what he meant by that simply is, hey, I'm doing for you. I'm doing for your brother. You know, just let me do what I got to do. And she's up there giving him marching orders. It's not going to work.
She ain't play it right. Because I agree with T. Because my son and I had the same conversation. Because I was like, see, she came off like an opportunist in that moment. And I was like, now, mind you, I don't blame her for trying to put her family on, because I do the same thing. We all look out for our families and friends or whatever. But in that moment, I was like, sis, y'all already together. So, do your thing, handle your business, Netflix and chill. And then later on, you can get to the business.
Right. But because the relationship isn't really solidified. So, you trying to, express your wants and desires, it's, and that's what we see, so he's already.
She said she was his girl.
It ain't that tight yet, give it some time.
Look at LaWanda's face.
I've been out with her since she was flirting with Crown in front of him, so I was done with her then. So she already tipped her hand. I don't know why Lulu's hanging around. He could do better.
Exactly.
I think so too.
I thought I read that that's another reason why I don't think he dies, because I thought I read somewhere that he was going to have another love interest in the second season. So unless they didn't change some plans, and that could happen in the writer's room or whatever, but I did not anticipate this going too far anyway.
And while we're talking about these sloppy women, what about Tony?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my Lord. Tony, help me out.
I didn't know why he didn't catch on. I know he didn't say anything, but I'm surprised he didn't just stop.
You know what? I thought he did kind of catch on, and that's why I thought
she was pushing real hard.
Yeah, I thought that's why he wouldn't. I thought that's why he wouldn't say anything too. I thought he did catch on.
Yeah, he had to. I mean, he didn't give us the, any indication that he absolutely knew what was going on. But come on, Marvin, that was another exit. Go, move, take it to the curb.
Well, you know what in our interview with London Brown, which if you haven't watched it yet, go and check out our interview with London Brown, because he gave us some good insight in this season, and he was telling us that he was learning things about his character that he didn't even know from other characters. And so, Rock revealed in her dialogue with Kanan this week that Marvin was actually on the drugs that he was selling a while back, which is why they don't trust him in the family and why they think he's such a big screw up. So that was a huge revelation, because I didn't know he was using it at any point in time.
And they would explain why he said he didn't want it. Remember when Tony offered him the coke before, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good." So he did decline it then. So
yeah, and so like this whole ordeal with Tony, I think we're starting to find out more about Marvin, because he was talking about he wanted to set up his old shop, kind of. I guess he was trying to do of his own thing, and maybe he initially was the one that might have brought Rock into the business, because I think he just mentioned telling Tony he was going to set up his own situation again. And so I was like, well, we are starting to learn things through other dialogues that we didn't know about him.
That being the case, do you think it was wise for Rock to tell Kanan that she killed D Wiz?
No. But Ron had said way back when that she was gonna be the one to tell her and stuff. And I think she wanted to just remind him, like you don't know what fires I've been putting out because of you. So that's why she did it, to set him straight. Like, yeah, you think everything's sweet out here, and we've been putting out fires because of you. We have more because of you.
Yes, I think Kanan had like a grand realization this episode, because not only does he see all the deaths that his botched product caused, but then Jukebox reveals that Nicole had the same blue vial that came from him ultimately. And then he also realized through Rock that at the end when she was saying, is D Wiz's death really on me or is it on you? And I think he was like, oh wow.
But you know what? I think the tables are beginning to turn with Rock and Kanan. And the reason I say that, and I hope it is true, as we see in the next episode, Rock says to Kanan, and I'm gonna from now on tell you everything. And I think that had she done that in the beginning, had she brought him closer to the fold in the beginning, maybe he would have listened more, and maybe he would not have made the mistakes he made. Because remember, he, in his mind, I'm a desperate young man trying to prove to my mom that I can get this thing going and I can do what I can do. Had she brought him in the fold a little earlier and you know, confided in him and let him know more, maybe all of this wouldn't have happened.
This is so funny to hear coming from Ron, because I know when Power was on, Tiffany and Ron used to go back and forth about Ghost needing to tell Tariq more, and now and you know what, Ron, you were like, no, he shouldn't. He's the father, and Tariq is the son.
This is exactly why I need another man on this show. Y'all coming at me left and right.
And that's why I was laying back in the cut, because I was like, I'm gonna let Ron walk right into this. I'm gonna let him walk right into this, because that's the exact same thing I said about Ghost. And you're saying the same thing, that Rock should do that.
Every situation is a little different than the other. I am not going to concede. No, I'm still,
of course you're not.
I'm not.
Of course you're not. Of course you're not.
No.
Of course you're not. It's double standards.
Isn't this the pot calling the kettle black? Look at Ron changing, turn the tables.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know some subscribers probably agree with you because they feel I'm always on Ghost, but it's true. It's true. Like, listen, in each part, like, you wanted Tariq to stay in a child's place with Ghost and Tasha. Same here. I think Rock's understanding or her belief was that Kanan needed to stay in a child's place, and that's why she didn't tell him. But when he started screwing up.
Here's the one difference, though, since y'all want to draw these inferences.
Parallels?
Yeah, here's the one difference. With Power, Tariq was off-site. I mean, his life was set. You know, he had a good schooling. They took care of him.
He could have had a good school too. He chose
No. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And this is where I split the P here, because while Tariq had that, Kanan didn't. Kanan was up under his mother's armpits the whole time, but not really understanding what was going on because she kept that from him. And we said before, if she really wanted Kanan to have a chance, she should have sent him on. Mm-hmm. And then we can make the parallel between Tariq.
Well, he screwed up the test. She couldn't send him now. Because
no, sending him to his grandmother somewhere out from where he was. Because my point being is, he's out there, he's in the midst of things, you know, and so you can't have him 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That doesn't work, you know. And as we see, he can have both feet out and still want to come in as far as Tariq is concerned. But what I'm saying with Kanan, you kept him close to your bosom, but you really wasn't teaching him anything. You weren't showing him anything. And you know, as a kid, particularly a 15, 16-year-old, he's going to be frustrated with that. So he's going to go out and make his own stupid moves and get everybody, you know, all torn up over it. And that's where I draw the line between Tariq and Kanan. And in that inference, I'm saying, because you kept him so close to your bosom, you should have brought him in on what was going on a lot sooner.
At this point, Kanan got more bodies than Tariq.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
Speaking of, then you saying bodies, Rock got one, which surprised me that she actually did it herself.
I thought she was going to do it herself, though. I did, because when she said to Juliana, you know, let me know when I can do something for you and everything. So that helped her regain the leverage with Joaquin, because she was favor. Yeah, because that situation was going awry when that pitch to Joaquin, and then when she let him know, like, hey, I was the one that took Gabriel out. Yeah.
It's surprising to me that, you know, with Juliana, if that's his cousin in there as close as I think they are, I'm surprised she didn't call him to say, my husband's acting up and beating on me.
I was thinking the same thing. The same thing. I was like, why did she not, like, why didn't he step in? Unless she just was like, you know, maybe, you know, sometimes
I tell you what, I saw
like, don't touch my husband. Like they, you know what's going on. You want to help, and some people are like.
I think let me say, this is what I got from that. I think Rock gave her some power that she didn't have before, because Rock spoke up and said, you know, some things to her, and I think that motivated her to understand, I don't have to put up with this. I think prior to Rock
She's a
coming,
woman.
That's
Yeah,
a good point.
right,
that is a good point.
yeah, and prior to Rock, you know, she was shameful. She's a woman. She didn't want, necessarily, probably didn't want to see any harm to come to her husband, you know, because she's a wife. And, you know, and even in the real world, we see this, you know, women will tend to keep your mouths closed when you're going through that kind of physical hell, and you don't want to get the husband in trouble. So you just let it be. But I think Rock gave her some, you know, some chutzpah and said, hey, look, this is what you got to do. Let's get going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just wanted to bring up Jukebox next, because that was a part of the episode, and it opened the episode, and it was kind of somber, and I was like, oh my God, this is like so sad.
It was
Because
heartbreaking.
she wanted to go to the funeral so bad, and she, you know, mustered up the courage to walk in there, and, you know, got shut down and kicked out by Nicole's parents. So it's tough when you lose someone and you can't even say your goodbyes properly.
Shout out to Haley Kilgore that just body.
She is doing a
this role this
phenomenal
week.
job.
Oh my gosh, like when she was her grief, I felt it. I was like, oh, she's triggering my maternal instinct now, because I was like, oh no, like poor Juke.
But I had to use a pair of tweezers to pull out what hair I could find, because I the one thing I could not understand is, what are you there for? And you know, let's just say it's good she has people in certain high places, because, you know, first.
Are you talking about when she broke into the house?
Yeah, she breaks into
okay,
the house.
I thought you were talking about the funeral.
Well, it's getting to the funeral, but what I'm saying is, you know, you go to the funeral, you know, the mother is irate. She doesn't like you at all. And why would you want your girlfriend's funeral to go out like that? Because typically that could have caused a real big stir at the funeral. Kanan with you, oh my God, you know, he's on edge. If something had popped off, Kanan would have, who knows?
But think about when you're grieving, and sometimes you're illogical, and especially when you want to see somebody one last time, like
right. That was she just wanted a memento. You know, she wanted to pay her respects. And, you know, the only thing is, when she went to the house, you know, I think she was trying to get the tape back. I think she was just trying to get something, since they wouldn't let her stay.
Watch the tape. She sat and watched. Why couldn't she just take the tape?
It's not rational. She's grieving. She's in shock. She's young too, and you know, she's a teenager. This is her first love. It's a lot of stuff. I mean, you got to think about it. Because, I mean, the writers chose to not show how she found out. So you can imagine she sat there all night waiting for her, thinking that she was stood up. And then, however she finds out that she's dead, imagine what a shock that is to her. And then she's got questions about how that happened. It's nothing about that situation that would tell you she would make rational decisions. She's stunned.
No.
These aren't even rational or otherwise. It was tantamount to suicide. I mean, you were sitting there. It was almost as
if you saw how broken she was.
I'm sorry.
She was broken. Even the father, when he came in and he was like, you had to go. When he turned around, when he saw Jukebox's face, he was like, it was like you can see the realization in his face that he knew that this child is broken. This child loved my daughter. Yeah. At that point, that's when he started trying to just restrain his wife, because she was wilding out. The father, at that point, he got it. He was like,
well, offline, LaWanda and I were already talking about that. We know the father was henpecked from day one. So he's getting
punked in his house.
Yeah, he's getting punked. Right. And at that point, he saw the pain that Jukebox was going through. And I understand that, you know, and for what he did, I could fully understand, you know, what he was saying to Jukebox. He really didn't want to see harm come to her, because he knew that his daughter loved that woman. And so, yes, I can understand that. But Jukebox wasn't all the way gone, because what did she say to Kanan? You know, we thought that she would, you know, come hard on Kanan once she found out that that blue vial came from him. But
well, that was one of my predictions. I was like, I don't think she's gonna blame him.
But she not only did she not blame him, she was very rational in her thinking when she said, it's not your fault, it's not my fault. It's where we are. It's what we do. And we said earlier, it's that life. And she knew that. The life is going to cause death. And she brought that home. So
well, if you I'm just thinking about, the whole rationale with Jukebox, because like I was thinking too, like, why didn't she just, when she was at Nicole's house, why didn't she just get in, get out, take a few things to remember her by and then go? But then I started thinking, like, Jukebox is a person who doesn't really figure in her life. Her father is absent, although he's present in her life. And so she doesn't really have much to lose. And Nicole was somebody that gave her a reason to carry on. Like, she encouraged her music. She encouraged her to pursue her dreams. And so with Nicole gone, it's like, I'm in this state where I don't really have anything to carry anymore. So what happens to me? I don't care if I go to jail or get arrested. So I might as well stay here and soak in all of her for one last time. And I think that's why she spent so much time in that room.
And that's why I called
soak it all in.
Soak it all in.
I said it was tantamount to suicide, because basically
she didn't care.
No, she didn't. She'd given up on life. I mean, as far
that's
as
what I mean when I said she was broken. She was broken and stuff. So she was just like, because even the way when the cops came, she just was like
defeated, like
whatever, So I think that was Detective Burke, don't you think, that flagged her and basically got her out of trouble?
Yep.
So I was
you was gonna say something, Lawanda?
Yeah, because I was like, is what you said. She doesn't feel accepted anywhere. That was the one place where she felt, probably whole and accepted, where she could be seen and heard. And with Nicole gone, maybe she just went back to that place to have that feeling again of those memories. It's really sad, because now we're trying to figure out how she becomes another person, how she becomes this hardened person, and we can see it. This is the seed of it.
Yeah, and I think, Tiffany, you called it out with that Detective Burke thing. I do think that, once she got released, was definitely Detective Burke that seen her name come up and was like, let this person go. So it was good that she got off, because adding that on top of her grief would have probably really broken her for real. She might have really done something harmful to herself.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. I was like, at that point, he had given her the vial, and if they went in and searched her and she got caught with it, then that would have opened up a whole burn for her. She would have been the one associated with that killer drug. So that was good that didn't happen.
And the mom was already blamed, like ready to prosecute her right there on the spot.
Get him. Yeah, I was like, okay, Mom.
Yeah, she was off the chain. But the comment she made about it not being anybody's fault, it's about the environment they're in. I think this opens the door for her to go down to DC.
I said the same thing to my son. I said, okay, now we know how she got to DC.
And maybe Kanan follows, in that regard too. So I don't know. I mean,
no, he only followed when he came to DC once he got burnt up by ghosts. That's when he came to DC.
Okay. Well, all in all though, I thought it was a good piece, and I don't mean to, I don't mean to take away from Jukebox in that experience, because I do fully get the fact that she was distraught, torn up, heartbroken. I just thought that it would have been a little more prevalent, as far as I'm concerned, just to take those items you wanted and leave. But to sit there,
that's a rational thing to do.
Well, but, look, it's not. It's certainly irrational to break into somebody's home like that. It's certainly irrational.
But when you're hurting.
Well, maybe I've never been that beaten up, I guess. So I have to admit, I'm only speaking from my side of the boardwalk. So I've never been that beaten up over love. So no, and not just love. She died. It's grief. I know. I maybe been a little irrational when I was grief stricken. So I mean, that's a little irrational. To me, that was more than just a little. It was irrational to break into the house, but to sit there, play the tape, and just literally give up. I mean, her breaks came because, like you said, she had people in high places, and that does not happen very often. I mean, in theory,
it's a cry for help, Ron. Who knows? Besides,
Right.
nobody knows the depth of her sorrow at this point.
Right.
The only person
Right.
that confide in is Kanan, and he's limited just because he's young like she is.
Right.
So
I
much.
was about to say the age plays a role in that too. So I'm glad you said
Right.
young.
Right.
Okay, I give up. I know I'm beaten.
It's not about that. It's not about beating. It's like we can kind of understand that level.
Right. That's all we saying. We can understand.
Yeah, just carrying that emotion and not really knowing what to do with it, how to express it. Who is the adult that's gonna say this girl is going through grief? We need to get her some help. Nobody.
No,
Right.
no. It's like next.
So what do you think So what is Detective Burton going to really do for her? I mean, I know this is more of a premonition, but what do you think can happen here? Because she
could be an advisor. I think that she's going to be
more than that.
She's
going to be psychological help, though. She's really.
That's what I'm saying. She can, but at least having someone to talk to.
Well, I think it's more than that for Detective Burton.
Well,
because we already seen her really pushing for Detective Howard to, do more recon and stuff like that. And she was like, let's get our hands dirty. And, Howard has been hesitant. He's trying to put her off to the side. And she's like, I'm going to do my own thing. And I got my own in on this whole Raquel situation. I'm going to go through every avenue. I'm trying to get in good with Jukebox so I can get some information.
Did you see the
Howard
previews?
was like, well, I did see the previews. Yes, she's sitting in the car with her.
And Juke was like, you cops are in danger. So I don't know if Juke is snitching or if she just talking in general or what, but she was in Burke's car and they were having that conversation. So.
But the thing that surprised me this episode, because when Marvin was basically talking to Kanan about if Raquel found out about what they did behind her back, he was saying, I know she he said, probably wouldn't kill her own son, but she would kill me. And he thinks that Lulu would be the one to execute that kill. And so I was like, wow, that's interesting to me that, she would go that far, because I understand that brother and sister and they're mixing family and business. And I know that there's a line there, but I didn't think that he would feel that way. I thought he would feel that at least if we have nothing else, we have family, the fact that we're siblings.
Well, she didn't, and she proved that she didn't kill him. I mean, like she hit him with the board.
The 2x4.
But she did not try to kill him. And you can see that she was hurt too. Even when she banished him, she was getting ready to cry. She was emotional when she said, I don't ever want to see you again. And you can tell from that, and she was speaking as a mother, like you got these bodies on my son. And that's how she was coming on.
And I thought that rage would have been enough I thought she was going to take that 2x4 and hit him in the head. That was
still her brother. Still her brother.
That's true. But when you pick up a 2x4 like that, my first thought was, oh my God, maybe she is.
Yeah, I thought so too. But that's why I said she didn't even hit him in the head and stuff. I mean, that's why I was like, okay, this is still her brother. She still loves him regardless of his screw ups.
Right. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just thinking that he would say that because of this after knowing what he had done in the past, after knowing that he had basically almost thrown it away because he was using drugs. I think he would think she would have that kind of reaction. I thought about that too, but I was hoping he wasn't being literal, but then you never know.
You're right.
Because it does seem that she and Lulu are closer and she trusts him, and that they always have these side activities going on that they don't tell him about. So it is a concern, but it also is kind of convenient if Lulu is out of the picture, it brings Marvin back in, so he's not out in the cold.
And maybe he can do better. He said he can. And maybe there's a possibility, except wrecking these daggone cars, Marvin. You gotta look, come on now. This is the second Mercedes.
Listen, I wasn't mad. He got on the scene to get Lou out of there. And I thought that was good too. Because
that's the outcome. That's the outcome. That's the outcome. We talked about it on the interview. Marvin, I don't know where you're getting these cars from, but quit wrecking them, man. You keep hitting these parked cars when you're going after bodies. Get somebody, man. I want to see you run somebody over, because you're always in the attempt to do so. Stop hitting these parked cars, man.
Well, going into predictions, I think that, like, you were just saying, Lawanda, that's Marvin's way back in. The fact that he has now saved Lulu and he basically had Lulu on the sidelines. Rock doesn't have anybody else. So she's going to need, Marvin to step back up.
And he's
I
the
think-
enforcer. He's the enforcer. So you definitely want him when they're getting ready to go to war. And now I understand why London said that episode 8 was his favorite episode.
Yeah.
Remember he talked about during our interviews, he said something about, Marvin, there's different things. And he said he can be a hero. And I was like, oh, he was a hero in this episode.
Yes. Yeah. So another prediction that I'm thinking about is going back to Detective Howard and Kanan. I'm trying to figure out how Kanan is going to receive this information, because there is something to be said about being a cop's son. And, Rock highlighted that. And I'm like, so if Kanan is, or Raquel is basically forced to let Kanan find out who his real father is, and we, of course, know that Detective Howard is going to try to use that relationship to save his own life. I'm wondering how Kanan is going to react to that information, especially after finding out what his mom did to D-Wiz. He's grieving a different way now that he realizes, like, my mom did that. So when she puts this extra, thing on him, like, oh, and this is your real father too, I'm wondering how that's definitely going to have a negative effect on his relationship with Raquel. And then just the stigma of being a drug dealer, but knowing your father is a cop.
Well, I think
that's going to be major.
I think that it can, the fact this is all fiction, so we can kind of work this out. Okay, Detective Howard talks to Kanan, lets him know that, hey, I'm your dad, but we can keep this on the down low. Nobody has to know. However, I need your help. I need your bone marrow. And this is fiction, so I think that they could go, test him in the hospital, and he's just someone who is a match, and it doesn't necessarily have to come about that this is your son. He just happens to be a match. I found a match, or hey, let's see if this guy is a match. He turns out that he's a match, and all is calm. So I think it can be worked out in the fictional world. And then maybe in some reality that could happen as well. You could find a match out there somewhere. But
I don't know about that one.
What would be who, first of all, who would tell that Howard and is that Kanan is Howard's son? Who's gonna mention that? Who's gonna blab that out? It's certainly not gonna be within that nucleus. So I think they can keep it within. The question is what happens at the hospital, and if we can somehow keep that quiet, then it's okay.
I still don't know that Howard survives. Yeah, I know that was one of my predictions, and I know that she needs him and all that, but I still feel like he's not safe.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. I guess the only thing that I'm thinking about too is with Detective Howard, I don't know what his end game is. Like, I know he wants the bone marrow, of course, but is he actually trying to build a relationship with Kanan? He can't possibly think that Kanan is going to be receptive to building any kind of bond with him.
I don't think so. I don't think it's about that. I think he's just trying to save his own life. And as we still see, Rock needs him too. So, something has to give. So I don't see Howard. I don't see Howard dying anytime soon.
Okay. Well, one other prediction, which is probably really obvious, but Symphony was present during that whole exchange with the cops and Tony. So Symphony is in all the right places at the right time.
I think he's gonna tell her. He don't want to catch the wrath of Rock anymore. So I think he's gonna let her know what he heard.
Yeah, and I think that he's starting to get more and more involved. I don't think it's intentional either. It's kind of just like by circumstance. And I think that, when all is said and done, Symphony is going to be entrenched in his life. I think he's going to get pulled in involuntarily, probably.
I was thinking we'll see for sure who he is. That's for sure.
That's true.
It's going to be revealed. Is he a part of gang? Is he a part of the gang, or is he really who he says he is, and be able to tip Rock off? But
Man, you should see some of the stuff that I read online. They be saying like they think Symphony is Ghost Dad and stuff like that. Because they're like, they're gonna take over the club and that's gonna be Ghost Dad. And I was like, wait a minute, y'all. I said, empower. I said, I don't think that's so, because Ghost Dad, they said that he got killed because he called the cops on the drug dealers and stuff like that. So no, I don't think Symphony is Ghost Dad.
have to have a child, or a couple of years younger than Kanan right now. So far,
And Courtney said at this time, where people keep asking like, when we gonna see Ghost and Tommy, she said, y'all, Ghost and Tommy are in the 5th grade right now. so they're 10 years old at this time that we're watching Kanan and crew. So I don't, unless Symphony has, a 10-year-old child, whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's Ghost Dad.
Well, my prediction is that Tony is going to get X'd.
Oh, I think you're right about that.
For sure. For sure.
She gonna get X and little Rob that ran his mouth.
Yeah.
On Kanan.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Because I thought that if you don't respect Kanan, fine, but Raquel should be enough to stop you from running your mouth.
I thought the same thing. And Marvin.
You're right.
I was like, I said, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Another little tidbit that we didn't touch on was Davina and her sister getting, pulled by CPS because the mom has died. So that seems to have really had an effect on Kanan.
I thought about that because I was like, Kanan, because he had just found out about his mom being involved in killing D-Wiz. Then he goes to see Davina and she's gone. So then after that Jukebox, I was like, wow, like the world came crashing down on him.
Yes.
So
yeah.
And then he's gonna find out about Lulu.
And then the Howard stuff coming up. So it's just a whole whirlwind of things going on with them. He's just getting more and more things piled on his shoulders. And so it's just, I think this is where we start seeing the twisting, like that switch in Kanan that we were waiting to see, where he completely loses all of his innocence.
And I think it has a lot to do with Rock, because she did say that she's going to bring him into the fold more. She's going to, she's going to confide in him. And I think that's the switch that turns things, because it'll allow him to feel more like a man, hey, my mom trusts me now. So my focus is different. I'm more myopic than I was before, So I think that'll happen.
Yeah, because it's interesting to me that the more Rock tells him, the more he sees how ruthless his mother actually is.
Yes.
And so when he sees that this is his mother, this person that he loves, but she was ruthless enough to kill my best friend and then go sit at his mom's house.
Yes.
And pray with her.
And
pray with her. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Darker as you can get. Yeah.
So he had to really see her and know who she is. And so yeah, they can't have secrets between them at this point now.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's true.
And
that
I
was
wonder,
a really good point.
And I wonder, like, his mom was his world, and of course he still loves her, but I wonder if, his viewpoint of her has changed. Like has he, does he still like, okay, she ain't who I thought she was. I don't love her the same or whatever. Because before he was like, I don't know.
Or does he have more respect for her now?
Yeah, I think it's more of that.
That too.
Yeah, I don't see him loving her any less. I think that he may revere her more. I think, and that's what will settle him, to let him know that, hey, your mother is the shit, pardon the expression, but she's not to be dealt with. So, that might calm his wild behavior, to a degree. So
yeah, I think it'll be the latter. Yeah, with him pumping his brakes a little more, because he's like, she put hands on such and such, what's she gonna do to me next?
Well, she smacked you to the ground. That was a pretty smack.
But he deserved that because he was popping off.
Yeah.
And so, I wasn't mad at the little slap down.
Yeah.
You killed all these people. That's
right. And then you're gonna say it ain't on me. It's your fault. What?
Well,
Yeah.
there was some truth to that though, you know.
It wasn't true, but I was like, but a lot of it was on him and all the things that, you know, the fire shit to put out. Yeah, he would have had to get that 2-piece, no biscuit.
He better be happy. All he got was a backhand.
I mean, you say that, but I'm still thinking, even if he's in the life, he's not on the corner selling drugs. Who's to think he's a 15-year-old child that's gonna go out and shoot somebody on the corner because he think he's protecting?
Right.
I think that still had to catch her and came out of left field, right?
It did, right.
So
I mean, Howard didn't even believe it when little Rob was snitching. He was like, Kanan's 15 years old.
Yeah.
You taking orders from a high schooler?
So, you know, it's interesting. So I'm looking forward to next week. So
yeah, it's good. It's good. And some more bodies are going to drop, clearly.
Yes, I'm enjoying this season. It's been a good introductory season. I think they have definitely lit the fire and have people hooked. So I think all of the Power spinoffs now, you know, they have cemented themselves and established that, you know, they are just as good as the original Power, and then bringing in a ton of talent that we haven't gotten to see. Yeah, especially you mentioned Haley Kilgore. We talk about London Brown. You know, Patina Miller and Malcolm Mays. I mean, even Mekhi Curtis, he's killing it as Kanan. So like the casting has just been awesome. And I think that's what helps us to fall in love with these shows, is because the characters are bringing it, you know,
the writing is solid for this show, and so is the acting. Like, you know, and plus all of them that you name have been powerhouses in different avenues. Like, you know, Patina from Broadway and Hunger Games and Haley, and even Nicole's character came from Broadway too. So a lot of these folks, you know, as we saw from London Ballers, and everything. So we got a heavyweight cast in the acting realm.
Yeah.
I don't know how many episodes they plan to have with Kanan. Do we know?
With
it's supposed to be 10. So we got like 2 more episodes.
I'm sorry, I don't mean episodes. I mean seasons. How many?
I mean, I guess as many as gonna be renewed. They already got renewed for season 2.
But I think you can wear your welcome out a bit, you know, because people are anxious to see Tommy and Ghost coming up, and we can always progress over to them. I just don't know how many seasons you can carry Kanan's story before you introduce Tommy.
No, I think they because we haven't even met Breeze yet. So, you know, we got to think about that. The Breeze, we got to see the turn, you know, with the arc with Juke and Kanan, how they get to the level where they are now. And then probably, like, you know, who knows, maybe 3rd or 4th season or whatever, then we probably introduce, you know, Ghost and Tommy or whatever. So
that would be interesting.
Yeah, because he's 15. So
well, I mean, the progression age thing you can do in a script, right? I mean, that you know, that doesn't necessarily have to drag out.
No.
But I'm simply saying, you know, it's interesting, and I guess as Kanan's storyline develops more, and hopefully, I think there'll be more interest as well. The interest will keep growing, and because right now it seems to, you know, there seems to be fairly decent interest.
The show is popular. You know, I watch on social media. It's a lot of buzz. The audience is connected to the characters and stuff, and so. And I think they do a good job of engaging with the fans and stuff too. So, the show is pretty successful.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it had. I mean, I'm definitely interested in seeing, you know, more of the backstory before we get to Tommy and Ghost, because it's just, I mean, just this alone, what we've seen in these 8 episodes, it explains a lot of, you know, how things ended the way they did. So it's just interesting, and then just the period piece of it, you know, the 90s and it's just the nostalgia of it all. So
the music, everything.
It was a magical time period, so I love reliving that. But we've given our predictions. You guys have any other things you want to add on top of this episode before we close out? Nothing? Okay. Well, to the spotters out there that are watching, thank you so much for your support every single week. We read your comments. We love your comments and your predictions. So please drop down in the comment section and let us know what you thought about this episode as well. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and you click the notification bell so that you are alerted every time we post. We are also on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. Okay, so go follow us on TikTok too, because we just got on there. We might be having some fun little things we throw up there. So check that out for sure. And also get your friends and family involved too. Invite them to view the show with you and subscribe to our channel. Any other last parting words?
Just remind them to look at the Chris Brancato interview we did, the showrunner for Godfather of Harlem. It was a vibe.
It is. So yeah, make sure you check out that interview as well. Give that interview a like and share that one as well. And if you'd like to go back and view our London Brown interview to get some more insight on this whole Raising Kanan series, then you can do that as well. And as always, we thank you guys for your love and support. And I think we are going to call it a night now. So see you next week. Bye-bye.
I wonder, is it worth living now? They told me dreams come true once you live it out. I picked up pieces from my childhood in a broken house and heal my soul from the trauma we've been given out. I hear the whispers in the wind under smoky clouds and tell myself once again, I'ma work it out. So much shit can happen, yo, it got me tripping now. Yeah, it's feeling different now. Feel like I'm zoned out, put my phone down, damn it's cold out.